What's up, hockey fans and hockey fanatics out there? Welcome to the Hockey Lounge, episode 40 for Wednesday, October 20, 2021, 9:30 p.m. We are rocking the lounge live tonight, officially 1 week into the National Hockey League season. And tonight, we are going to be talking about who's hot and who's not after the first week in the NHL. We'll be talking about some teams, some players, and I got my wingman in the lounge tonight. We are going Batman and Robin tonight, just me and Apple. What's going on, App?
Not much. Another good day of hockey so far tonight.
Yeah. What's the score there? I think I saw 3. Is it 3-2 Flyers?
3-3 after 2.
Oh, 3-3 after 2. So I think there's 2 games tonight in the National Hockey League.
Yep.
You got
the Blues and Knights start at 10 o'clock.
Exactly. So you got a late one, ladies and gentlemen, at 10 o'clock. I'm sure I'll be watching that after the lounge tonight. So we're a week in, and there's been a few developments out there, a few teams that are the sky is falling, and a few teams up that you're rubbing your eyes when you look at the standings. It's you're like, what is happening here? And then there's been a few injuries that are definitely, we'll get into that early here, 1 week into the National Hockey League season. So question for you. We talked about hockey homework. We talked about looking into who's hot, who's not. And let's start off with the positive on the Hockey Lounge tonight. Who is hot? In terms of the teams that were surprised, there are a couple of teams we talked about in our prediction show that got off to a good start. Now there's a couple that are not off to a good start. Up. What teams are you surprised by the first week here in the National Hockey League?
First of all, it's Buffalo. I think for me, they're making me look like an idiot.
I think they're making everybody look like they don't know what they're talking about.
I made the hashtag shit just for them.
I saw the billboard at Customs actually the other day, probably, right?
So yeah, the Sabres are definitely my biggest surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Not followed too far behind by Detroit.
Yeah,
I didn't see that coming either.
You look at the Red Wings; they could be 3-0 if they didn't give up that lead to Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
that 5-2 lead on I believe it was opening night, or the second night after, Wednesday night.
Yeah.
A week tonight. Yeah, they had a 5-2 lead against the Tampa Bay Lightning. They lost 7-6 in overtime. They could be 3-0 as well. So a few things happening out there. Edmonton is 3-0 up. You have the Pittsburgh Penguins, which I think I'm getting force-fed here because I predicted them, and I'm a Penguins fan, and I'm sure all the people in Pittsburgh and my buddies that are Penguin fans out there, they're sort of saying, there you go, Nick, you really knew the Penguins, but they're 2-0-2. You have the Washington Capitals up that are 2-0-1. We talked about the Detroit Red Wings as well. So there's a few unbeaten teams. The Florida Panthers, the Minnesota Wild, the Buffalo Sabres, and the Edmonton Oilers are 3-0 to start off the National Hockey League season. Any thoughts on, the Sabres 3-0, Jack Eichel, still a Sabre, all the circus around this? Is he going to get traded? When is he going to get traded? New coach, interim coach now, permanent coach in Don Granato. Is it Don Granato, I believe it is? Yes. Don Granato? So. Yeah. The Granato family, great hockey family there. Why are they 3-0? Why are they 3-0? They don't have their leader. They lost Ruotsalainen to the Philadelphia Flyers that's playing tonight. It's sort of mind-boggling.
The thing that I can't believe I can't believe a lot about it, but they've scored 12 goals in 3 games, which is surprising enough, but they've only given up 4 goals in 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely didn't expect that.
Right.
So
go ahead.
I just don't know. You get a couple of teams every year that are on fire at the beginning and then they just fade.
Right.
But I still, in my wildest dreams, I honestly didn't think they were going to be 3-0 with a 12-4 goal differential. I don't know where this is coming from. Either Granato's doing a phenomenal job to start the year, or
listen, like you said, teams start off fast. Teams start off slow. I'm always a big believer. It's not how you start, it's how you finish here,
Yeah.
right? Like we've seen this in the past. We've seen this
Every
with
sport.
every sport,
Every
right? And then teams start to tail off. Just to give a quick update for Flyer fans and Bruins fans out there, it's 4-3 Flyers with in the third period with 16:22. That's a live call there. It's 4-3 Flyers with 16:18 left in the third period. So Flyer fans looking good right now. That's a good game. Already 7 goals in that contest. Talking about the Buffalo Sabres app. The Buffalo Sabres. I love talking the Buffalo. I just can't believe I'm saying this, but the Dustin Tokarski Apple. Dust 0.92 goals against average.
Yep.
Sign him up.
Not just that, I believe I'm looking it up right now, but I think even his save percentage is incredible. It's not just that he's not giving up goals. Oh no, it wasn't him. It was Grice that I was thinking of.
Yeah, but his goals against average is 0.952.
Yeah.
Grice is 0.969.
Yeah.
So phenomenal numbers coming out of teams that were unexpected to start off the season like this. But hey, you know what? It's definitely interesting for sure. How about the Minnesota Wild? I had them making the Western Conference there. It seems they haven't left off from last season. Yes, they got eliminated by the Vegas Knights, but they made the playoffs. Nobody predicted that last year, and they're off to a 3-0 start this year.
Yeah, they're looking pretty good right now. I didn't have them. I didn't have them looking like this. They scored 11 goals in 3 games, which is pretty fair. I didn't see that. I thought goal scoring was going to be their problem. I know they got cappers off, but I thought goal scoring was going to be their big issue. And early on, it doesn't seem to be an issue for them.
Yeah, for sure. And we're talking about who's hot after the first week in the National Hockey League. The season started last Tuesday with a couple of games. We're already a week in, and there's definitely been some few surprises. The Edmonton Oilers, the Minnesota Wild, the Detroit Red Wings, the Florida Panthers, Apple. We picked them both to win the Eastern Conference here, and win the Atlantic. They're off to a 3-0 start. They played the Pittsburgh Penguins last week on I believe it was the Thursday night. They were down 4-2. They came back. They won in overtime. They look like they're really on par to have a really good season.
Yeah, it looks like that forward depth with adding Reinhart and stuff is really Reinhart and Bennett has really done them because they've scored 14 goals in 3 games. So they look like they're firing on all cylinders already. Quenneville's got them playing good hockey.
Yeah, and Barkov, Sasha Barkov, man, you know what? So underrated. Guy plays a 200-foot game. He's heavy on the puck. He can score goals. He can go to dirty areas. Really impressed with this guy.
Huberdeau as well.
For sure. Yeah. So, that team is on the rise. Like I said, watch out for the Cats.
Yeah.
The Oilers, 3-0. Mike Smith is out. He got injured last night. So that might change the developments in Edmonton. Koskinen, I guess, now takes over the number 1 position. But interesting, I was watching the game last night, and we mentioned on the Hockey Lounge on Monday with Julian and the tipster there. And I'll get into some. The tipster texted me. He wanted to come on tonight, but the tipster had to go to sleep. He's a little tired tonight, but he sent me some tips for tomorrow night on a parlay. So if anybody is watching the show, you have to wait to the end here tonight to get this parlay on what the tipster has given us tonight to take tomorrow if you're betting on odds or whatever you're doing. But
I hope it's better than his Bills pick for Monday night.
I know. I was thinking that when I was watching that, right? So for sure. But he did say to his credit, he wanted, it wasn't a big bet, and he is a Bills fan. So, when you put some money on your favorite team and cheer for them, it makes it even more exciting. So we'll give him a mulligan on that one.
Okay.
But the Oilers, Dave Tippett a couple weeks ago came out and said, you know what, to Draisaitl, I love the offense, the magic in the offensive zone, the no-look passes, the backhand passes. So last night I'm watching this game on the couch, and again, got home from a hockey practice. So I was watching the Oilers game, and the score was really tight. They were up by 1. Okay, and who were they playing again here? They were playing the Ducks, so they were up by 1. They were up 5-4. They were up 5-4 with like, I don't know, a $1.30 left, $1.40 left, and Draisaitl gets the puck in his zone, hash marks. Okay, what does he do? He tries a backhand saucer pass, pizza, right up the middle to McDavid for him to go for the empty netter for his hat trick goal. 5-4, pizza up the middle, backhander. This is my problem with the Edmonton Oilers app. Your thoughts on that?
I agree 100%. It looks fantastic. It's going to be exciting, but in the end, it ain't going to work.
Right.
Like him and McDavid got 8 points each already this year. They're flying high offensively there.
Mm.
But you're right. That kind of stuff in the playoffs, forget about it. It's not going to last long, and Tippett's going to lose his mind by the end of the year if he keeps doing that.
It's true. It's absolutely, you know what? When I see that and whatnot, is it like Draisaitl had a couple goals last night? McDavid had one. They're on fire. One thing that McDavid did impress me last night, he played hard in his own zone.
Yeah.
So it looked like, he actually even saved the goal there. It was on the goal line. He pushed that out, right? So, like we've said before in the lounge, once the big guns understand they got to play a 200-foot game, then you start to win. Then you start to win into the playoffs. You start to win the cup, and things start to smooth. You look at, again, Jonathan Toews, Patrick Kane, Jenny Malkin, Sidney Crosby. Those teams that have big guns, once they learn how to play in their own zone, everything takes care of the rest. So a couple of big guns, though, that have started. We mentioned Draisaitl in terms of individual stats. McDavid, but a few guys that are really sticking out to me right now. Steven Stamkos, off the hopper, started out really, really on fire here. You have Drew Doughty. Drew Doughty has 7 points already this year. He's already one behind the leader. You have Anze Kopitar at 8 points. Jesse Purarvi started on the season strong. He's playing with McDavid and Draisaitl with 6 points. Tyler Bertuzzi had the big night there where he scored 4 goals. And then you have Alex Ovechkin, not slowing down. He's already got 4 goals, I believe, on the season. Yep. Kopitar has 5, Bertuzzi has 5, McDavid has 4, Ovechkin has 4. But you know what? Like some of the things that I've seen here. Now, let me put this out to you right now. It's the Olympic year, right?
Yep.
Does it surprise you that Drew Doughty's coming out like he is?
No. It's like being in a contract year.
Right?
He's trying to prove that he belongs there.
Exactly. So some of these guys, as crazy as it sounds, even a guy like Steven Stamkos, is he a lock? I don't know. I just read the other day that the Tampa Bay Lightning has asked him multiple times to trade his no waive clause over the last 2 seasons. So is he proven that he can be still a guy that they can lean on with Cooch out, right? That's another injury. Cooch is out. They're saying, I believe it's 6 to 8 weeks, something like that. I saw it today. So he's out. And then let's go to your team app. Jack Hughes, had a great game 1. Looked like he was flying last night. Took a big hit, fell awkwardly on his shoulder. Yeah. Is there any update status on him?
Right now they're saying day to day. That's the last I've heard. They haven't updated at all. I'm sure I'll know more tomorrow before the game, but right now it's day to day. They haven't said anything definite.
Yeah, that's too bad because he looked like he was gonna, start off the season really, really strong. The way he fell awkward on his shoulder didn't look good. He went to the bench sort of hanging a little bit. So I'm thinking maybe worst case scenario with a hanger like that is maybe dislocated or separated. Nothing too major.
They're making it seem like it's not that serious, like he dislocated. He might have sprained it. That's the feeling I'm getting.
Yeah, that's sort of what it looked like too, right?
Yeah. Going back, I just wanted to go back to the guys that were hot. I'm going to throw somebody under the radar right now.
Yeah.
Call me a homer if you want, but I've seen these games. I watched Colorado games last year, but not a lot because we were all playing the same teams all year.
Yeah.
Bro, I am impressed as hell at Ryan Graves. I'm telling you, he's a +7. The
Yeah.
Devils have scored 8 goals, and he's a +7, and he's got 3 assists. This guy is like a rock in his own end.
Yeah, he's a
I'm looking-
horse. He's a
Yeah, I was
horse.
looking at him. These 2 games I've watched, this guy looks like a Norris Trophy. I'm exaggerating, but he looks like a Norris Trophy winner the way he's been playing back there.
What I like about Ryan Graves is it's his first zone, D zone. He takes care of that first.
Yeah,
He's legit in his
Oh,
own
yeah.
zone. He knows how to take a guy out. Positionally, he's sound. He's not looking to cheat. He's not looking to go on those offensive rushes, right? Clean up the zone and he's out late. Listen, he's a big boy too.
yeah.
But I watched him a lot last year in Colorado. And again, I'm one of those hockey junkies. For everybody that doesn't know that, I'm up late at night. App says I don't have a real job. So,
Kidding.
so I'm watching hockey. Whenever hockey's on, I'm watching it anyways. So update in the Philly game, 4-3 Flyers in the third period, 10 minutes or 10:05 left to go. Shots on goal. I'm going to give you a live. This is live. 33 shots on goal for Boston. And you got, they're going to commercial. I think it was 28 for the Flyers. TNT is rocking the broadcast tonight. So you talked about Ryan Graves. How about let's talk about the Seattle Kraken here before we get into who's really not hot and the sky is falling out there. What are your thoughts on the Kraken?
From what I've seen, I basically saw all the Flyer game, and I saw the Devils game, the 2 games back to back, and
Yeah.
their defense, we thought they were deep when we did our preview show, stuff like that. They don't look good in their own end, and their goaltending was really suspect.
Yeah.
They're not off to a good start. I don't know if they can't wait to have their home opener on Saturday night. At the Flyer game, they didn't show up at all. I think they got bombed. 6-1 was it?
6-1, yeah.
Yeah,
Then they started playing goon hockey. They wanted to fight everything.
Yeah. Well, same thing happened last night. There was a lot of chippiness for teams playing each other for the first time. There's a lot of chippiness last night. But it looks like they're not. They don't look good right now.
Yeah, it's definitely they look like an expansion team to me. They look like I'm going to go back to this though, and I like again, I'm not in the know. I'm not in the dressing room, whatnot. I was just surprised with the hiring of Dave Hextall. He hasn't proven anything in the NHL as a head coach. His time in Philadelphia, they weren't that good. I'm surprised Ronnie Francis went with him.
Especially when there's a lot of coaches out of a job right now.
Right.
There's a lot of guys that are out.
Yeah.
Like we keep talking about Bruce Boudreau. I can't believe Bruce Boudreau doesn't have a job somewhere.
Yeah.
I really don't.
He'd be the perfect guy for a team like that. Even though that, they'd be more run and gun. They'd have to keep the puck out of their net. And I'm not a big fan. I'll tell you this right now. I really like the move that Colorado did with not, keeping Grubauer. I don't think he's a number 1. I really don't. I think he's number 2 at best.
He hadn't proven that he could carry a team for an extended period of time. So what would lead you to believe that he'd be a number 1?
Right. I think Darcy Kemper in Colorado is going to give them better minutes, better goaltending there. Breaking news though, out of the NHL too, and we're just going to dive into this in a little bit here, but we'll get into who's not hot right now. And we got to start off with a couple of teams. And the first team there that I would, sorry guys, who's not hot is the Montreal Canadiens, Apple. What is going on in Montreal right now?
3 goals scored. They scored 3 goals in 4 games.
No points by Caulfield or Suzuki right now.
Yeah, it looks like a shit show over there. Now, I'm hearing rumblings today that now ownership's already become impatient. and they keep talking about Dylan Strome. They want a top 6 forward. I'm not convinced.
I'm not sold on that.
I'm not convinced that he's a top 6 forward, but that's what the talk is, that they're growing impatient. I don't see them jumping in on Eichel because I don't think it's going to happen. But I mean, they're already.
You don't think Eichel's going to get traded, or you don't think Montreal has?
No, I don't think he's going to Montreal.
Assets.
I don't think Montreal's going to do that, and I don't think Buffalo's going to trade him within the division either.
Yeah.
But I think I think, yeah, the ownership there, Bergevin doesn't have a contract. So if this goes on for any length of period of time, another week or two, he might be done.
Yeah, for sure. You know what? I really think it comes down to the leadership group right now. There's no leadership there. You have Price that's not there. Weber's not there.
They're missing Weber huge.
Yeah, huge there. Pizza Dano's not there, and supposedly he was a really good leader in there. So they've lost some leaders. It's interesting, right? The Flyers just scored to make it 5-3. Flyers with 8:43 left in the third period. Like I said, shots on goal 34 for the Bruins, 21 for the Flyers. Is it Swayman is in net for the Bruins. This is going to be interesting with the Bruins up. We talked about it. Allmark, Swayman, like no Rask, different type of feeling in Boston, I would say, if you're a Bruins fan. But Montreal Canadiens, Bergeron had a press conference today after 4 games. After 4 games, you got to have a press conference. It's interesting, man. Like, again, no contract. The Hockey Lounge reported it a couple weeks ago. Not that the rumors were true, but who knows if this is good. And Bergeron mentioned he has not talked to Carey Price up through this now. He has not talked to him. To me, the guy is he's the franchise of he's the franchise player. Yep. You have to know what's happening with Carey Price.
Yep.
I think there's something there, and I believe the ownership might use this bad start to get this guy Bergeron out of here. Like Bergeron out of here. I think this could go down that road.
I think so, 100%. I think that's where we're headed.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely something to keep an eye on. After, again, what I don't get is after coming off a Stanley Cup run, and then you start off like this, it just doesn't make sense. Can I ask you something, App, about this? This is something I've been thinking about all summer. The Canadiens making it to the Stanley Cup and losing, was that a good thing or a bad thing for this franchise? Because it was unexpected that they were going to go that far. But do you think the letdown of losing Apple could put this franchise back?
I think so, and I think even for the fan base, I think it raised their expectations. They weren't expecting that, like you said. They're bringing along the young players like Caulfield and Suzuki and stuff like that. They were trying to build up, but it looks like with him signing Hoffman in the offseason and all the other guys that he got, he was trying to expedite it because the expectations got raised. Mm-hmm. So I think it sped up the fans' mental process by a couple of years, thinking of where they were going to be, and now the heat is on. That might be one of the big reasons why they didn't give Bergeron a contract in the offseason after going to the Cup Finals, thinking, okay, this is the year. Mm-hmm. Now you got to show us this year that last year wasn't a fluke.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely it's something to keep an eye on for sure. You know how it gets in Montreal. Even I believe it was last night's game. Yeah, Montreal played last night.
Yeah, 5-0 they lost.
Yeah, 5-0 to the San Jose Sharks. Correct.
Yeah.
The Bell Center was not packed, my friend. There was a lot of empty seats there. So it's different than it being in Toronto, where even if they suck, the house is full, right?
Yep.
But in Montreal, if you suck, they ain't coming.
No.
So it's a different type of fan base over there. All right. If you want to become a Hockey Lounge member, hit that subscribe button below or slap shot the like button if you like the show. Tonight, we're talking about who's hot, who's not in the National Hockey League after week 1. So moving on to who is not hot in the National Hockey League, we got to talk about the Chicago Blackhawks, because I picked them to come third in the division, third in the standings in the Western Conference. I think you did as well, Al?
Yep.
Or no? Yes. Marc-Andre Fleury. Man, he seems to be rattled. He seems to be the goalie that he is not. He played in Pittsburgh on Saturday night. He got lit up for 4 goals right away. It was ugly. He looked mad. He looked pissed. He didn't look like he was engaged. He didn't want to be there. Last night they played the New York Islanders. And again, I was channel surfing, caught a bit of that game, caught a Cal Clutterbuck goal, top shelf, top cheese on Marc-Andre Fleury that he never gives up coming down the wing. I'm telling you, it was Cal Clutterbuck. He looks dejected up. I just don't know what's happening there.
He might legitimately not want to be there, like we heard the retirement talk. He might have just shown up just to be the professional and try to force them to trade him again to a team he wants to go to. Because he doesn't look engaged. He doesn't look interested in playing at all.
At all. Like it's pretty crazy when you see that. Going into last night. Let me see if I have that stat there. I believe he had let in 12 goals in 3 games, I think it was, prior to last night. Okay. Just crazy stats there on that. But interesting note, I heard, with the Hawks or whatnot, I think the coach is going to be gone soon.
I believe it. He's young. He's too young.
He's a young guy, and it was a weird hiring. They got rid of Quenneville. They brought him in. You had a bunch of vets there. Seabrook was still there. Duncan Keith was there. Their core was there, and all of a sudden you bring this young guy in. Again, when you're coaching and you don't have any pedigree or Stanley Cups, when you're coaching guys that have won cups, they're like, "Who's this jabroni in the room? I'm going to listen to this guy."
And it's not even guys that were already there. You bring in Fleury. You bring in Seth Jones. These guys go, who is this guy?
Right. So a lot of bashing on social media with Seth Jones. Like a lot of bashing. He's been sort of suspect too in the first number of games here with the Hawks. Man, it's payday for Seth, buddy. And you know how it is when that paycheck's signed and there's a lot of money on your shoulders. A lot of pressure comes with that, right?
A lot of expectations.
A lot of expectations for sure. So we'll see what happens. I believe you could see a GM in Montreal get fired very soon. I believe you could see a coach in the National Hockey League in Chicago get fired very soon. So the gauntlets are out there already, man, and we're only a week in. It definitely will be interesting to see what happens there. The Winnipeg Jets, breaking story. I was going to get to that. Did you hear about this one tonight?
No, I was actually just going to bring them up, but go ahead.
Okay, right. So, Blake Wheeler was out of the contest last night due to COVID. And the worry out of Winnipeg is there might be a number of positive tests coming out of Winnipeg in the next 24 hours here. That was reported this evening over social media, on the news, whatnot, different sports news. Man. And the way they're playing is not good either. So,
yeah, it's the worst possible time to have this kind of news.
Yeah,
I was going to say, when you were talking about the coaches and the GMs, I was going to say Paul Maurice is another one that's got to watch himself early on because the heat's on. And if they're going to have this now with COVID and they're going to hit a little slide or whatever, it's not looking good for him.
But Apple, okay, again, I've been to a few Jets games. Great atmosphere, just unbelievable. Like, probably one of the best buildings I've ever been into, and I've been to a lot of NHL buildings because the atmosphere is like, it's like the building only sits like, I don't know, 14 to 15, right? It's like an OHL game, an AHL game, very, very close, intimate, and it's crazy. Like, it's loud. People are crazy. Like during the national anthem when they say, North, and people go bananas. Yeah. The fans are all in Jets colors. It is amazing. Like, 50-50, they have 50-50 draw there. Everybody's buying tickets. Great atmosphere. Outside, there's a couple of bars. Man, it's amazing. But if you're a Jets fan, I think it's time for a change because every year everybody says the Jets, Hellebuyck, the Jets. I don't think they're that good up. I really don't. Come on, man. Like, honestly, like Blake Wheeler, like, he's not the player he was 3 years ago.
No.
Right? Scheifele, you know what? I used to like Scheifele, but he's sort of acting like a jabroni on the ice now. I don't know what his issue is.
Yeah.
He's not playing to his strength. He hit Jake Evans there last year in the playoffs. He's trying to be something that he's not. He just has to play hockey and be that offensive player that he is, or that 200-foot player that he is. He's just not the same player. Kyle Connor, good player, right? but I don't know.
To me, it boils down to Maurice. Coach has got to like, Mark, what are you doing, Scheifele? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Take him aside and talk to him. It seems like I don't know if they've tuned him out. He's the same kind of coach to me as Tortorella. After a few years, he starts getting tuned out.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering that they're just not listening to this guy anymore and doing whatever the hell they want and acting like idiots, because that hit on Evans was brutal. And you're right. He doesn't look like he's the same player. He for a point a couple of years ago looked like he was going to be a dominant player in the league.
Top
he was
5.
putting the puck in the net. He was everywhere.
Yeah. So, but rough start to the Winnipeg Jets season for sure, and hopefully this COVID thing doesn't ramp wild with them as well. So they're 0-2-1. They haven't won a game. So you have the Calgary Flames that are 0-1-1. You have the Winnipeg Jets that are 0-2-1. You have the Arizona Coyotes. We won't even get into that shit show. They're 0-2-1. Chicago's 0-3-1, and you have the Montreal Canadiens at 0-4-0. So those are the teams without any W's yet. I'm going to get into one last team here, the New York Islanders. It's surprising that they're -4 in terms of goal differential, 8 goals for, 12 against. They picked up their first win the other night, last night. Not really the Barry Trotz type of team that I thought would come out of the gates here.
No, the 12 goals against are what's shocking for them. Like, they've been at the top of the league basically since Trotz has gotten there. And I'm shocked that they're averaging 4 goals against the game.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Injury update in this Flyers game. Nick Foligno must have left the game and will not return with an upper body injury. So there's another player down, and maybe some shoulder or whatever issues it is. Upper body injury. Nick Foligno is out of the Boston game between the Philadelphia Flyers. Okay, who's, in terms of player-wise, has surprised you, App? That sort of really not on fire. A couple milestones I just want to mention too out there. Jeff Carter scored his 400th goal on Saturday. He's still chugging along. You also had Mike Sullivan get his 253rd win as a Pittsburgh Penguin head coach, for most wins by a Pittsburgh Penguin coach. So milestones are coming. The debate about Ovechkin, he hasn't stopped. He's on fire with the 4 goals. Anybody surprise you out there, App, besides your boy Ryan Graves?
Honestly, I'm surprised at Kopitar. I thought he was just winding down the career. I didn't think he'd. The Kings look pretty good so far this year, and him and Doughty, both of them, they're everywhere on that ice. Like, the bits and pieces that I'm watching of their games and their highlights, they're on all of them. It's all about them.
For sure.
I honestly thought Kopitar was just a side thought now.
Well, the funny thing about the Kings is because they have so much youth, and they haven't been talked about in 3 or 4 years, really.
Yeah.
Right. And also too, like last week, there was a rumor that Jonathan Quick is going to be traded out of LA. So, in terms of the LA Kings, that's one team that if they're on, I don't know if I'm watching. I'd rather watch the Anaheim Ducks for Trevor Zegras, Jamie Drysdale, Sam Steele. Now, McTavish. Yeah. When Byfield's back in the lineup, I definitely take a look at that. Yeah. So it's 6-3 with 58 seconds left. They scored an empty netter. Flyers are up 6-3 against the Bruins there. Some other news and notes in the National Hockey League. Mitch Marner, his slump continues to be confusing for everybody out there. Hasn't scored in, I think it's like, I don't know, what is it, 12, 13 games here?
Forever.
I believe, right? Yeah, forever. He, hasn't scored. It didn't score in the playoffs. Hasn't scored now in the opening season. This really, comes into play here. What are your thoughts on Marner?
Disappointed. We said it the other night after the Ranger game. He looks like he's tiptoeing around the perimeter all the time. Yeah. He's just trying to dish the puck every time he gets it. He looks like he's disinterested to me. And like we spoke about, I thought after they made him the whipping boy after last season, that trade Marner. When one of the guys got to go, we got to trade Marner. I thought it would have lit a fire under this guy's ass this year to stick it to everybody, and he just looks unmotivated. It's like he's going the other direction. He's starting to feel some heat now, and he's just turtling. Yeah,
it's when you start gripping your stick And I thought that, you know what, he come into the season and say, you know what, forget what happened last year, move on, let's go. You know, maybe now that Matthews is back, you might see a little bit of more opportunity for him. You know, Nick Ritchie on the other side there, I'm not too crazy about it, but we talked about it on Monday night. Again, the teams that I really think that for me that are surprising and teams that I thought that would be off to a better start, the Islanders, you know, Colorado, McKinnon's back. Nashville we've talked about Nashville, even, you know, Vegas. But you know what's crazy though too is that, you know, if you look at the standings and how many games teams have played, you have the New Jersey Devils. They've only played 2 games, right?
Yep. Tonight was Boston's second too.
The Kraken has played like 5 games, right?
Yep.
It's just crazy. Like, how do you have teams that are playing 5, 4, and you have teams that have 2 games? You know, it just doesn't make sense in the schedule. So it's easy to say right now we're only a weekend, but it's definitely interesting, Apple, to see who's hot and who's not, and how this next week is gonna, you know, unfold here in the National Hockey League.
For sure.
All right. Again, if you want to become a lounge member, hit that subscribe button below or slap shot the like button. We were talking who's hot, who's not in the National Hockey League. Any other side notes for tonight before we let the viewers go?
No, I just think it's going to be a big these next 4 days through this weekend. I think it's going to be a telltale sign for some teams. The Montreal situation that we're talking about. I think if they get bitch slapped again once or twice this weekend, like they did last night, he could be done by the end of this weekend. I wouldn't be surprised though. 5-0 to the San Jose Sharks.
I know.
Like I think both of us had San Jose coming last in their conference.
Yes.
5-0 in Montreal.
Yes.
I think another one of those and Bergevin could be done.
Crazy. And nothing gets easier after last night. Tomorrow night they host the Carolina Hurricanes. So
that's coming back.
That's another. And then on Saturday, I believe they play Saturday night. They have the Detroit Red Wings coming in, and the Red Wings are playing with some confidence. So It's definitely going to be interesting to see. Your New Jersey Devils play the Buffalo Sabres on Saturday. So that will be interesting to see what kind of high Buffalo comes into. Buffalo, do they play before Saturday? Because maybe we're on the hashtag shit ride here with the Buffalo Sabres cheering for them. They play the Boston Bruins on the Friday. So get your Jeff Skinner jerseys. They're hot to trot, right? All right. Thanks for being in the lounge tonight. It's been a blast to say who's hot, who's not. It's been definitely an interesting week for sure. Looking forward to the next week with the National Hockey League games. Bergeron on the hot seat. Chicago, what's happening in Chicago? Winnipeg, COVID might blow up over there. A lot of different things happening. Will Mitch Marner score by the next time the Hockey Lounge is back on air? We shall see. Big man, have a great night. To all the viewers out there, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the Hockey Lounge. We will see you next time.